All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Our first item is an opportunity for questions or comments from the public. I would ask tonight, I guess, if there's anyone here that has, and there's a fair number of people here, so I'm assuming what you're here for. If there's any questions or discussion that you want to have on this zoning ordinance coming up tonight, now would be the time, I guess, if anyone has any further questions.
Just Mark, announce that Terry's on the phone.
Oh, yes, and I'm sorry, Terry is joining us. She's on a business trip, so she's on the phone. She'll be listening in. Does anybody have any comments or any further questions concerning the zoning ordinance? Before we move on to the rest of the agenda? Or anything else on the agenda? No? Okay. Then we're going to move on to the approval of minutes. We have a motion. Yes, sir.
Are we talking about the 53 units? Have we brought that up? Is that part?
That's what I'm referring to. So if you have any comments, now would be the time.
So where do we stand on it?
Well, we're going to vote on it tonight, but I'm giving the opportunity for anybody that didn't get a chance to speak about it or has another thought.
Well, I would say that based on the...
You're going to have to come up here and give your name and address for the minutes. I'm sorry.
my name is Rick Hogan. Based on the traffic count that is existing now, which is absolutely out of control, and you're going to put 53 more houses in what was originally 12 single homes, plus 75 more townhouses over and Upper Dublin, with no plan on Limekiln, Norristown, Welsh, to do anything with those roads. I've lived on Fort Washington Avenue since 1960. I'm all for building. This is a joke. This is jamming it down. This is greed. This is absolute greed by Goodman and Payot. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, do we have approval for minutes? Oh, I'm sorry, please. I'm sorry, I didn't see you raise your hand. Name and address, please.
Yep, Michael Myers, 678 Misty Hall. I've been to a few of these, listened, looked at the plans. I'm not in support of it. I've lived here since 2006, raised my family here. I came to this area because it was, in my family's opinion, a very family-friendly area, which we were looking for, good schools. Our opinion, the overdevelopment of the area has really become a detraction from staying here. I have 2 adult kids. Well, one's in college, one's got her first job. They can't afford to live in this area. We've tried to rent. The prices are obscene. And building more and more. There's plenty of brand new developments. We don't see enough affordable housing for folks who are starting out in life. And building 53 units that are well over 600,000. Plus the other planned development, it just seems too much for us, for what we thought this area was going to be like, hoping to stay here until we retire, right? I think for us, as our kids move out and we look to downsize, we don't want to be an area that's overdeveloped. We don't want to have traffic issues right outside our house. I'm not in favor of this, and I would be hugely disappointed if this was approved. So that's all.
My name is John Long. I live at 654 Maple Glen Circle in the Maple Glen Hollow development that abuts the proposed development. Prior to living there for, I guess, 30 years now, I lived right on Norristown Road, a couple doors up from the proposed development at 720 Norristown Road. So I can remember the traffic backing up 38 years ago, and the queue, as they call it. So that the traffic problem on Norristown Road has been there for a very long time, and certainly continues today. In regards to the development, I'm not here to plead either way, whether you approve it or you do not. I'll leave that up to you to make that decision based on what is best for the township. But if you do approve it, what I ask of you is a couple things. Number one, I'd like to see paths. I'd like to see this township have better walking and bicycling capabilities. We have sidewalks to nowhere along Norristown Road currently. I would like to see either them continued and completed, if you will, to allow walking to become more prevalent along that road, certainly, and the only way to do it would be either with a path or sidewalks. In regards to the path that is proposed through the woodland area, I would like to see it join Maple Glen Hollow. And I know that could be a little controversial with some of my neighbors, but I would like to see it join Maple Glen Hollow because, again, it would promote walking throughout our community. The biggest issue I have is trees. I've lived in that little corridor there where there's a significant amount of trees and woodland that we see fox and deer, hawk, owls. Don't see them too often, but I would like to see imposed with the developer, if you choose to approve, a specific plan regarding the wooded area. They're going to be taking a lot of trees. There's still a lot of trees that survived September the 1st that are now coming back in that area. But a lot of them are going to be lost because you're going to be building homes on about 9 acres of the 15 acres. I'd like to see a specific plan that would include, specific amounts of trees, and I'd also like to see some more trees around the border. I don't know whether this is a final plan or not, but there's no real trees that are buffering some of the neighbors around the edges, except for where the particular area is of the wooded area. So if we could do something in that wooded area to really refurbish it and get it back to what it was, certain sizes and calibers of trees, I think that would really help our community if you choose to approve this development. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Braithwaite. I'm 650 Maple Glen Circle. I am against the proposed plan for 53 townhomes. I think one of the things that attracted us to our development when we first moved in is there's one way in and one way out, and it's a very it's a little secluded in that there really aren't any strangers that walk through our neighborhood because it's right off of Limekiln Pike, and I don't necessarily think that people with small children want lots of influx of different people from different areas, and I just feel like they're trying to squeeze something into a very small area that was perfectly fine as a wooded area. We have very few natural areas left anymore, and I think it's all but disappearing in Maple Glen. Thank you.
Hi there. My name's Colleen. Excuse me, Colleen Hogan, 652 Maple Glen Circle. I just want to say that before you vote, I just am hoping that you keep in mind that there's been, I don't know how many meetings now over this possible subdivision, and not all of us who feel affected by it are able to make every single meeting. And so, I worry tonight there's not that many, but I'm asking you to please remember how many people have come time and time again at different points in time, to remember that this is not the ultimate crowd. There have been more people than this before. So I'm hoping everything doesn't hinge on, this one meeting. Okay, thank you.
Catherine Bedard. I'm at 660 Maple Glen Circle. I talked before, and I'm not going to reiterate everything about the taxing the infrastructure and, fraying of people's nerves with the traffic. But I just found it ironic that I got a notice on both my phone and my email about water consumption, and you're multiplying the number of people if you're entertaining this. That's more consumers of the water that you're saying, we're short on due to the drought. Just want to add that one too.
Just one final point. Chris Priori, 602 Misty Hollow Drive. I believe it was the May 22nd meeting, Township Council meeting, where the hearing on this ordinance was held. And at that meeting, we heard you require a number of Horsham residents to comply with the rules. It had to do with impervious drainage issues. You required all those residents to comply with the rules. And I'm just asking you to have this property owner do the same thing. It's zoned R3. We'd like to see it say zoned R3. The property owner knew it when he bought it. I'd like to see him conform to the rules as well. That's it.
Hi, Linda Goodwin, me again, 663 Maple Glen Circle. I've voiced my opposition to the changing of the ordinance or whatever you want to call it, the zoning. We're here, Misty Hollow, a bunch of us are here. We're banding together, we're supporting each other. I live on the other side, so it's not in my backyard, it's in a lot of these people's backyard. They say 30 feet buffer. Well, my garage is 20 feet, so that's just an extra 10 feet. So when you're looking at the back of your property line, these are right there. 30 feet's nothing for this buffer, first of all. Second of all, I feel like all of our area, and when I say our area, we have Windmere Downs, we have Windmere Hunt, we have all those houses all over there. They're not here. My son lives there. I said to him, you know how this is going to affect you down there on Norristown Road and Whitmer and Norristown Road and Herman? As I stated the last time, when you drive down there during rush hour, you sit there because cars come into the intersection, they just sit there, the red light comes, the green light comes, you still sit there. Nobody's doing anything about that, and you're putting in 53 more homes that are going to be there. All we're focusing on is one corner. One corner they're going to make better. That doesn't do anything. And honestly, it's not going to make it that big of a deal, what they're going to do. It's not going to affect, as John said, it's been like that for years. So to me, it's like the whole township doesn't know, like the whole area. As I said, my son didn't even know. He goes, Mom, I never even thought about that intersection and how 53 homes are going to affect those intersections. But you're right. So I hope, as Chris said, you make these developers stick with what was originally done and keep it as it is zoned now. Thank you.
Hi, Megan McCartan. I live at 508 Rolling Glen Drive, so I'm one of the few that isn't from Maple Glen Hollow, but I do realize the impact it's going to have getting out of Herman Road at rush hour now, sitting at the light at Norristown. It is 2 or 3 times, if you're lucky, and people aren't blocking the intersection, and that's the way it's been. So you get through there before rush hour, or you go all the way around if you have to. But that aside, I did not move to Horsham 30-some years ago to replicate living in Northeast Philadelphia where I moved from. And this dense, I don't know where this idea of people want this dense residence, whatever you call it. Maple Glen was not built for that. The intersections, that triangle is not built for that. We have I know you can't do anything about Upper Dublin and that whatever happens is going to happen, but why impact and double down on that and make it that much worse? Everybody that's here came here for the same reason, I believe, and that's to be in this beautiful, open area, community that everybody loves. And why change that? We have Ambler, we have Lansdale, we have Willow Grove, we have Philadelphia not that far away. If you want that, it's here. You don't have to live in it every day. And I don't want to live in it every day. That's all. Thank you.
Else? Okay. Oh, we got another one. Take your time.
My name is Doris Walbert. I live at 657 Maple Glen Circle. I've actually lived in Horsham Township since 1986. I first moved into my first home on Hunt Drive, a nice twin home. I started a family, needed a bigger home, went over to 657 Maple Glen Circle. I've raised 4 kids in the district, and I want to stay. I don't want to move. I don't want to feel like I'm being pushed out. I mean, there's too many houses, too much development. You have to have a heart for us. You really do. I mean, we want someone to stand up for us and say, look, enough is enough. Forget about the traffic. You know, traffic is one thing, but it's a lifestyle of living. We can look out over our yards and see trees, open space. I remember where the cornfields were. They're not there anymore. We don't have fresh air. Last week, we were suffering from the wildfires that were coming down from Canada. If we had open areas with grass and fields and trees, we would not have our lungs polluted with the Canadian wildfires. I mean, it's a lifestyle. We don't want to feel like we're in Philadelphia or being choked out by pollution. It's, please, if you would just please hear us and consider us. It's important. It's a lifestyle that we chose. We love Horsham. We want it to stay the way it is. We don't need 53 townhomes. If you want to put singles on there, fine. Put the singles on there. Have a heart. We need singles. Singles are nice. They're spaced out. Everyone is happy because they're not on top of each other. We can breathe. We have traffic that is not, traffic is one thing. It is congested, but why make it worse? More cars come in, more pollution comes in. Please, just have a heart for us that have been there for more than 30 years. I myself have been in the community since 1986. All these other people have been there for going on 30 years, 3 decades. Please, consider our opinions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rob Moses, 690 Misty Hollow. First of all, I wanted to personally thank Horsham Township for everything they did for us and are doing for us after our house got taken out by the tornado back in September. So thank you, very much appreciated. I am not in favor of this development. I'm on the other side of Misty Hollow, so it's affecting my neighbors a lot more than me, but the traffic and the ambiance and the crowded nature of what's going there and the zoning back and forth, very, very concerned and would very much appreciate everybody looking at this from our perspective. And it is not such a large group tonight, significant, but we have all of our neighbors who are very, very concerned, emails, texts going back and forth, and it's something that we're pretty much to a T all behind. So asking you to please, please think hard before approving this. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, then we shall move on to the approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Treasurer's report, Bill?
The balance in the general fund as of May 31st, 2023 is $6,484,798.58. For the most part, the activity in all funds reflects budget expectations for May, with revenues in the general fund at 72.08% of budget and expenditures at 39.53% of budget. We continue to monitor revenue from the earned income tax and local services tax, which have both been affected by the pandemic and employees working from home. For a more detailed presentation of our current financial position, I would refer you to your monthly booklets.
We have a motion for checks.
I move to approve the list of checks in all funds in the amount of $685,046.35, and further move to authorize payment of the same. I move to ratify the U.S. Bank credit card transactions for the month of May 2023 in the amount of $425.09.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is the ordinance for amending the R3 Maple Glen Townhomes. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the ordinance as proposed, amending the zoning ordinance, Chapter 230, to amend Article 2 definitions in Article 9R3 Residential District to provide a commercial transition community.
Second.
Moved in second, and this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Chaudry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next is the Business Park pedestrian lighting bid.
Now you have a subdivision.
I am so sorry I missed one. We have subdivision for Lower State Road driving range.
So most of everyone's familiar with the driving range on Lower State Road between Horsham Road and Welsh Road. It's at 500 Lower State Road. It's been there for quite some time. They would like to make improvements at that driving range with a...
This is a joke, okay? An absolute joke. And you were the first one to vote for it. And I want everybody to look at every one of them. I don't know what went on, but 53 homes into that neighborhood is a joke. And you listened to every one of them, and you all voted yes. And we will remember.
You live in Upper Dublin.
Excuse
I
me?
said you live in Upper Dublin, correct?
Excuse me?
I'm asking you a question, that's all. You
No,
live
I don't.
I thought you said you lived in Upper Dublin.
I did live in
Oh,
Upper.
you did? Okay, I'm sorry, I just asked a question.
No, it sounded like you said live in Upper.
I said, do you live in Upper Dublin?
Sound a little snide to me. Sorry.
This is a disgrace. It really is. You're here for the people, not for builders.
We're here for all the people.
God knows what they did to get this done.
We're here for all the people.
No, you're not. You're here for builders.
We're here for all the people. Thank you. Come on, Bill.
So what they would like to do at the driving range is to construct a teaching building, a clubhouse, and a maintenance garage. And they are here this evening with their engineer, Mr. Woodrow, to present their application to you. They did receive, a couple weeks ago, they did receive preliminary final, recommended preliminary final from the Township Planning Commission. Mr. Woodrow.
Yeah, good evening. With me tonight are Beth and Bob Cesarini, the owners and operators of, thank you, of the driving range. And our architect, John Tietz, is with us as well. As Bill has suggested, the driving range has been there for quite a number of years, and just trying to make some upgrades to the facility, especially giving us some opportunity to keep the facility open and viable during winter months, and the construction of an indoor teaching facility is what we'd like to accomplish with this proposal. Not a great deal of changes to the driving range itself. The tee boxes, the enclosure will remain the same. We will be removing the existing office complex, a couple of miscellaneous sheds and other amenities on the property that are kind of scattered and inefficient. And so it's the great hope we can put this all together in a much cleaned up and nicer version of the facility. We have received a couple of reviews from Township staff. We have the Gilmore review from Eric, as well as Emily, the landscape architect. We have a review from the fire marshal, as well as a lighting consultant. All those things, all the comments in those letters are certainly will complies. I don't have any issues with any of them. Perhaps a couple of waivers or clarifications might be in order. The Gilmore letter points out an obligation under the zoning code to provide a landscape buffer adjacent to our residential neighbors. We believe, and I think Gilmore's letter would suggest, that the existing vegetation along that common property line to the north meets that obligation, but asks for additional information on our plan to show compliance, and we're happy to do that for certain. There is a question or comment that perhaps parking lot landscaping is required. We would hope that we wouldn't need to reduce our number of parking spaces by adding landscape islands, but we will certainly plant the appropriate number of new trees in and around and adjacent to the parking lot. So maybe a partial waiver. Hi, Mayor.
Hello, Mr. Woodrow. I didn't mean to interrupt, but are you working from your June 9th, 2023 waiver request letter?
I am.
Okay, so it's helpful if you let us know that. So you
I'm
already
working
talked
from
about
my June 9th waiver request letter, yes.
So you already addressed waiver request number 1 regarding the screen buffers, and you were explaining to council why you thought you could use existing vegetation.
Yes.
And you want a waiver from that section to be able to use existing vegetation, correct?
Correct.
And now he was starting on
Yeah,
Number
and
2.
Everyone has a paper copy, too, of the
Great.
June 9th.
Everybody's good with the first one?
Great. So again, we're not trying to avoid the obligation to make some improvements to the landscaping, adding the vegetation, but asking that we do that adjacent to the parking lot as opposed to in the parking lot itself. Okay, great. There is a comment, we're showing a drainage system around the new building and running that out actually into the landing area, the driving range through a level spreader or little stormwater seepage bed. The pipe size that we're using for that collection system is 10 inches as opposed to the 18-inch pipe size that would otherwise be a requirement of ordinance. I think it's my opinion that that 18-inch pipe size was really meant more specifically to publicly dedicated roads as opposed to a drainage collection system around our building, but in an abundance of caution, we would like to seek a waiver from that obligation. Good. Super. Again, from the fire marshal, he asked for some information on truck turning radii when he gets into the facility. We believe we can incorporate his concerns, and we'll be in touch with the fire marshal to make sure he is comfortable with the configuration that we present. As far as lighting, we're not proposing any new parking lot lighting in conjunction with the plan. We will have some building-mounted lights that we can show to Gilmore's office as those architectural plans come to fruition. Not that we have any concerns with Ron Smith's letter, but other than we are committed and will add a plan note to the extent that if any issues occur with our new lighting on any adjacent residential properties, we will commit to either modify the light, shield it, or address those concerns if they are legitimate in the opinion of the township's engineer or zoning code official.
Willing to work with those folks to get it done.
Correct.
And the building lighting will be, at a certain time will turn off, or just the other one?
Yeah, but I don't, other than security lighting in the evenings, you know, when the business closes for the night, the building lights will go off along with that, yes. And other than that, we do have some examples, I think, in the slide deck, Bill, of the building elevation, if there's any interest to anyone. But again, here's the layout. So this is just the top-down view of the area where the existing office is and maintenance sheds will be replaced with a standalone, much better looking maintenance shed, office area, and then the training center on the left. And I think there's an elevation view as well, Bill, of that building. So not completely dissimilar to what's there today. It should blend nicely with the existing canopies, but should clean up what is a kind of a number of miscellaneous structures on the site. We'll get rid of all of those and contain everything in one structure.
Okay, good to go.
And get it to you before the next meeting.
Great.
Council can consider it then. Right, Mr. Chairman? Ms. Rogers?
Thank you very much.
You.
Have a good evening.
Take care. All right, next is the Horsham Business Park pedestrian lighting project.
So as council knows, we've been working on this project for quite some time, and I'm happy to report that this evening we are ready for you to consider going out to bid for the project.
Do you have a motion?
I move to authorize the solicitation of bids for the Business Park pedestrian lighting project and further authorize advertisement of the same.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is the bidding on the pickleball courts.
We received, as you know, our pickleball project consists of adding 4 additional pickleball courts behind the community center. We went out to bid. We got 6 bids. The highest bid was $295,000. The lowest bid was $147,375 from Cousins Incorporated out of North Wales. And that is the staff recommendation for you this evening is Cousins at $147,375. Everyone else was in between that number and the $295 number.
I move to award the pickleball courts bid to Cousins Inc. in the amount of $147,375 and hereby authorize execution of the contract for same.
Second.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Let's see, consider resolution supporting implementation of a solar energy program.
Your next 3 items on your agenda are all related to the solar energy project for all of our buildings that the township owns. So just to go back a little bit in the past, we did, about 10 years ago, we did energy assessment reports through the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission on all of our facilities in Horsham on many different ways of how to save energy and reduce energy from our facilities. And we were the first municipality in the county to change over all of our traffic signals and all of our street lamps to LEDs. We were the first in the county to do that. And we were recognized by the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission for not only doing that, as well as our public works facility is 65,000 square feet. We changed all the lights in there to LED plus motion sensors. And we were recognized by the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission as a municipal leader in energy efficiency. And now I think you're taking the next step with solar energy. As you know, we're also adding electrical vehicle charging stations to this facility and the library. They're currently under construction. But now you're taking the next step to put our facilities, which includes the Township building, the community center, the police station, the public works facility, and the library on 100% clean renewable energy. And that's what this solar project would do. That I would hope that if you approve it tonight, that it could be done hopefully in the next 18 months. Fingers crossed with supplies and all those other issues we don't control. But when it's done, all of our facilities would be 100% solar powered by solar energy. So that's what your first thing is a resolution supporting the solar energy project. And then the next 2 are the agreements with the solar companies that we will use for the project.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
Through the resolution as proposed, committing Horsham Township
to transition the township building, the police station, the community center, public works facility, and the library to 100% clean, renewable energy with solar energy. And second one? The other
Do one at a time.
One at a time.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is a roll call vote?
Mr. Chaudry, how do you vote? Aye. Ms. Harmon, how do you vote? Aye. Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Is the solar agreements?
I move to authorize the solar energy service agreement and access license agreement with Horsham Solar Partners LLC and Meadow Valley Electric Incorporated for a solar generation system.
Second.
Moved in second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. It. Ran out of things on the agenda.
That's it.
All right, and meeting is adjourned. Good evening, everyone.
Good night, Terry.